what seems to be happening is that the sense of self, or like the sense of personhood, individuality, like it's become like a very, very diffuse, basically. So it's not, doesn't seem located anymore, but it seems very diffuse. But if I were to sort of like speak about like what I experienced, like I think there's still like a whale of like a separation, like although it's like very diffuse, but it doesn't seem like game over. Like, there's this like a slight sense of like, there needs to be like something, like happening, or like, and it's like also like energetic, like, it's not conceptual, because earlier there might be concepts about what I want to happen, like finances, like you said, or something, some concrete idea, like even enlightenment, that was like a concrete idea I had. Now it's like more so energetic, is that, this like energy that's saying that, that something else needs to take place. And I think what I hear you say is that, the death of the me is basically when that energy stops happening, basically. Yeah.
So it feels like there's no importance to anything, not even this body. So it's not even
Mhm.
like it's not that I want it to die. I wouldn't even mind if it died because it's not me. No one,
Not you.
no one's in
Yeah.
here. So
Wow.
there's no difference between, there's no difference.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like there's no location. There's not a me here, but there's apparent this visual stuff that's magically happening, like hearing and like talking,
Yeah.
but there's no one in here. So there's no separation. There's no boundary. Like
Right.
no one's here. It's this is unknown, and that
And
this is unknown.
no one's here either.
Yeah.
Uh,
So when that drops here, it's so clear. There's no one in any human body.
no one
So there's
anywhere. Yeah.
no separation whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even when that, like I think, um for some like individuals, when that belief is happening, it's happening by its own accord. Like there's nobody believing themselves to be a me, basically. Like the belief or the show of the me is like running of its own like volition. There's no person who believes himself to be a me and who can unbelieve themselves to be a me, basically. There's nobody like throughout that entire like process.
Yeah, but it's did you say it's a belief? I mean, you
Yeah.
know that it's an energetic.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but it the energetic contraction feels really real, and then
Yeah.
you can't really tell that it's there until it's gone, because um it's kind of not apparent because it seems to start so young, I guess,
Mm,
and then you get used to it maybe, or it's just really hard to tell.
yeah.
um but when I say
Yeah.
I'm here, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be, ooh, scary to, yeah. There was also a point where at the end where it was really clear that there was no turning back.
Uh-huh.
Not that there was anyone who could turn back, but um it was gonna happen. and there was the me panicked. It was like, I don't want this. I do not
Mhm.
want this.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, it was really like, oh man, oh no.
So
So the
what was like was there any sense of like sadness or something like that? Or what immediately afterwards, like what were the emotional state, or like what came on for you?
wait, what was the emotional state when?
So like when this apparently like like this energy of the me, like it just stopped happening, like, and you said it was experienced like a death. So like did you feel anything like immediately afterwards, like a lot of people experience like a sense of like grieving or something like that? Did you have any of that
After it happened, or
after it happened? Yeah, like because like letting go of like all stories and like letting go of like this person like you really believed yourself to be, was a sense of loss maybe?
oh, I okay. I feel like there was, because there were still remnants of the me coming up, because it's so a habitual thing for how many years. There
Yeah.
were remnants. Um, oh man, why is it so hard to remember? Because I remember talking to my sister when it happened, but then there was just void. There was just emptiness, and it was really scary and worrying,
Mm,
because there wasn't the seeking of like, I wish for something else, but it was like, holy shit, is this gonna last? Is this is this it?
yeah,
is,
yeah.
is it gonna feel like this forever? Like, is this awakening? Um, I'm not answering your question. I can't I think more when the me was actually dying, then it was terror. Then it was all the fears were just coming up, and
Okay.
it was
Okay.
more like, do I really want to do I really want to let this go?
Yeah. So did it happen like all at once, or like would you say progressively? I mean, again, even progression is apparent, but like, did it happen all at once, or like did it seem to take time?
There was a flickering. There
There's
was,
a flick. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but there wasn't a caring at the time when, because I really had in a way, I want to be so careful about saying like giving up on life, because someone might really misinterpret that, and someone who they could try to do that, but
Mm,
it was a natural giving up. Like, I don't care if I wake up. I don't care about I don't care about much anymore.
I see. Yeah.
And then it felt like the the me was kind of like flickering. It was kind of leaving, and then soon there was just less and less me,
Yeah.
less and less of a maintaining of anything, of a um yeah, no one was here to claim anything or take ownership of anything.
Mm.
Yeah, just less and less, I guess.
Like it's like so strange because like in one sense I see that nothing needs to happen. Like in one sense, like I sense that, just talking, just sitting, like all of this is like enough. This is like what's longed for, basically. So that's at, one level. At another level, if I go down, like, at a very like root, like body sense, at that level, it says that no, like something needs to happen, like death of the me, like, needs to happen, or something needs to happen. And like, I think to a certain extent, like, I want to say, like, to a certain extent, both are true, because like, so like, Andreas and like all these other people who say, like, death of the me is also like, there's nobody to die, basically. There's nobody to die, basically. And I know that, I sense into that. At the same time, like, apparently, like, there's this veiling of like selfing happening, and this, like, energetic contraction, like flickering on and off, and like, this happening. And it sort of seems like if that weren't happening, like, um that would be a different story. But like, what do you say to that? Like, there's this one sense that yes, even the death of the me doesn't need to happen because there's nobody to die, but at the same time, like, energetically, it can actually feel that the death of the me, it is the only thing that's like sort of longed for. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that's all of that is already just perfection. So the longing, the energetic contraction, whatever it might be, it's already this. There's you can't get any further or closer to it. It's already the case all the time. So even in the story when I said there was a flickering, it was
Ah, I see.
it was already the case all the time.
I see.
There was no time at all. It was already this and no time at all. And the
You know,
illusion creates the time. And
because like the way I described it, it kind of seemed like it's what's longed for, it's out there on the other side, right? Like that's what it seems like. Like what you're saying, like even that feeling is
that's
what's
it.
longed for.
That's it.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah.
It. Not
Yeah.
just that, but it is this. That is this. Yeah. You're never, I mean, you're never, you aren't there. There's no way to get this because there's nothing to get.
So like, I understand that, but like at the same time, like there's this feeling that um like a complete game over needs to happen, like
It
a
doesn't,
complete.
because
Huh?
I told you a story, but
Yeah.
every apparent story which isn't real is so drastically different. And some people wake up without having any sort of knowing of it, or like recognition. It just kind of like slides. And
Yeah. Yeah.
um
That's actually that like feels more true for me for some reason.
mhm.
Yeah, sliding into, yeah, sliding into it.
This is boundless. This is there's no right or wrong way. There's no condition. Like all of that is just a belief and a concept. So
Yeah.
because it's already just this all the time.
Like the other thing is like I think for the most part, like other than this, like, this slight sense, like I talked about, for the most part, like suffering doesn't happen because um I think like, and I didn't even like, think about this. Now I'm speaking about this, but I realized like, for a long time, like, that sense of like psychological suffering hasn't shown up, like, at the door, because it seems like, it's also the sense that, I think what Eckhart Tolle and all these teachings talk about, they talk about like the sense of like resistance, like this sense of resisting what is. And I think resistance, like at some level, sort of also creates that illusion of being a person, like, because I think person sometimes is like synonymous with that sense of like, resistance to life and resistance to what is. And like, life events, life situations have not been the best, of course, like, because life happens that way. But because there has been this element of resistance lacking, like, suffering hasn't shown up. But I would also say, like, that slight sense is still there, but this is what I imagine. Like, I imagine that, it's becoming like very, very diffuse. Like, for me, like, I haven't really experienced, like a lot of people call it, but like, a fireworks moment or like a big bang sort of moment.
There's
Like,
no big
that's, yeah, that doesn't seem to, like, resonate, with me. It's more like, one day you just wake up and like, the shit that bothered you isn't there anymore. The whale is off, like, it just suddenly shows up, basically, like that. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
really no caring in it though.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't matter.
Wait, what doesn't matter?
If anything happens or not. Because there's just liberation.
There's only liberation. You see, that I think that really cuts through, like every story that you might have, one might have, like, about anything. Because I think, like, the sense of the person is always trying to, like, escape for some reason, like, he's just trying to get somewhere, like, all the time. Yeah. But even
That's
that's
the,
part.
yeah, that's it.
There's nothing to talk about, like, in a real
There's nowhere to get to. Yeah.
right.
It's just this.
There's just this, yeah.
It's agitating for the me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in that sense, like, there's literally, like, nothing to really, like, speak about, right? Like, that's the crazy part, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a full stop, I guess.
So why do you think, like, people, like want to go to, let's say, Tony's meetings, and, like, maybe even listen to your videos, and, like, like, why is there so much, like, attraction there happening?
They're trying to get something. They think that something needs to happen.
Interesting.
Hmm? But it's already this.
Do
There
you do do you watch, like, videos still, or no? Like, you don't listen to anybody now?
even when it happened for me, I listened to it because it just sounded delicious to me. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like I wasn't trying to get anything anymore. It was like it was just yummy, and I enjoyed it. But now that I'm so busy with YouTube, that kind of fell away.
Okay.
But it could come back. Like I just love it. So
Yeah, it's like it becomes like more like a hobby, right? Like, that's something you do and enjoy doing, basically.
yeah,
It become like that. But, like, you think, like, a lot of the people, like, let's say, because I also, like, imagine this, like, um this is something, like, Ariana, like, pointed out, because I was listening to her, like, for the past month. I said, like, it really seems like that you have something that I don't, basically. you know that's how it, like, sort of seems like, you have something that I don't. And in that sense, I think you're right, like, like, trying to get something, trying to get an answer. And I think, like, if that sense weren't there, like, weren't as active, like, a lot of, like, let's say, behaviors might, like, sort of, like, fall away. But, like, at the same time, I enjoy it, like, I sort of, like, just enjoy it, like, um that's what I do. Like I either watch like soccer, like nowadays, like I like watching soccer, and the other stuff like I watch, like I just like listening to Andres and all these people, because the communication itself, like it's just so like delicious, like you said, it's like so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's enjoyment, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if there's a grasping for something, like whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. You see that nothing ever happened.
I sort of like left I think comment on one of your YouTube. So my channel name, it's the science of experience, basically. So I think I left like a few comments, like one of your recent ones, and I
Yeah.
said like this like the one comment was like, Suzanne, I feel like what do you call, like an energetic contraction. I feel like an
Oh, okay.
energetic
I
contraction, like
remember. Uh-huh.
in this like unforgiving cosmos. Yeah,
Is that
like
what you said?
no, I don't know what I said, but like that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
No, but like like it's so fun to like talk about this, because like I think like, so like right around like the, I think, belly button, that seems to be like the root of it. Like it's kind of like it literally creates this sense of like self and other, like because you feel like a self, you think you're living in a universe, like you think you're living in a separate thing called a universe, like full of people and all these people, because you feel like a self, like based on your perception, that's how the world appears to you. And you like, it's sort of like an energetic projection like happening, you might want to call it, but that's what it seems like, just being like located in the middle of nowhere, basically. And of course, like it, of course, I think a lot of like, let's say, the psychological problems people might have, like sort of like develop from this like root belief, or maybe root energetic like contraction feeling, basically. Yeah.
I kind of lost a little bit of what you said, but that's just this. That's already perfection.
Yeah.
Nothing to get, nowhere to go. You're you're not there. There's no you.
Someone like, I like listening to that, like I like being told that for some reason. Yes, like there's like not a, there's because I do sense that a lot of like, um I think like, for the most part, like, the sense of being like, feeling like you're in control of your life, like the sense that life is something that you need to make happen, not just experience, but make happen, like you're the active participant in life, basically. That in itself, like, like creates like and I know like you're gonna say that's perfection too, but like hold on. I feel, like, that sense of like doership, like is at the root of, let's say, anxiety, even, like, what's going to happen in the future. We're worried about the future because you feel like you need to do something about a negative outcome to sort it out. We imagine ourselves that if a negative outcome happens, like, I will be there and I might not survive that experience. So this whole sense of like, I think, doership, like this energy in itself, I think, um as it drops away, and when it drops away, like, it's quite a relief. Yeah.
For no one.
No one.
You're not gonna be here.
It's like I'm giving you all these like short essay type responses, and you're demolishing the entire story with just one word.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say. It's nothing
Yeah,
ever Nothing will happen.
So why do like, so what creates the sense that there is something happening, let's just say?
Yeah. I mean, the energetic contraction will im- it is the illusion of time, of feeling like a separate person,
Mm,
of yeah, owning a life, of being the doer. um so there is a lot of gravity. It feels very real, but it's it's so illusory. It doesn't exist,
mm,
and it's already just liberation. But that that mysterious energetic me is like creating its own illusory reality. It's fucking crazy.
mm.
And when it falls, then it's seen nothing was ever real. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened at all.
Nothing
Yeah.
happened. I never existed.
Well, yeah.
And no
Yeah.
one else ever existed.
And no one's really existing either. Like nobody's like, there's nobody. That's what, like, Tony Parsons said, like, the first time, like he said, there's what we're talking about here is that there's nobody on this planet. Like there's nobody on this
And
planet.
there's no planet.
There's no planet. Yeah.
There's nothing. But it's totally full of, I don't know what this is, but it's all empty. Totally empty.
Totally empty.
Everything.
And like there are no real questions also. Like if you like there are no real questions. Like that's what I feel like everything that I like sort of said and asked also, right now, like I'm sort of sensing like that's also like a story. Like there are no real questions. Yeah.
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 But I mean, if questions arise, that's totally fine.
Mm.
Yeah, but the questions can drop because it's very apparent that there's no answer. There's just unknowing.
I think yeah, that's it. Like I think I think a lot of like questions happen because of that sense that something needs to happen, something needs to take place, and looking for like the answer to things, looking for the one perfect answer that's going to deliver what you want, basically. Like I think Frank, like the guy I was talking about, like he sort of mentioned a quote by this guy. He's like, um there was a seeker, apparently, like he said, like, I don't know what I want, but I really want it.
Yeah.
that that
Totally.
is the sense. I was like, dude, that resonated with me, because like that it can, like, apparently, like, seem like that, like you don't really know what you want, like all these, like, questions happening, like all these in these like divergent directions.
And then
Yeah.
it's never really satisfied because it keeps on.
It keeps.
And what it really wants is the
Yeah.
end itself.
Yeah.
Wants to experience the end of itself.
Yeah. So like, so two things. So like, what do you mean when let's say people talk about the end of experience?
Mm-hmm. There's no
So
experience.
so there's no experience. So like, let me, like, share my take on that, and like, I want to see, like, what you think. So I think what people, or like maybe you mean by experience, is that, let's say, I have a feeling, like, in my body, and then but there's also this additional sense of being a feeler, of like a subject who is you know, feeling the feeling, you know, a secondary reality. So like if I'm seeing the lamp, but there's also the sense of being someone in here who is seeing the lamp. So like I think that's what I'm sensing. Like people talk about experience, and then when that collapses, the subject objectness of it, like collapses. So like, is that what like the end of experience, like is referred to?
Yeah, there's no experience, there's no experiencer.
Mm-hmm.
And what it seems like is like that what we call an I, we don't know what this is, but it
Mm,
seems like what we call sight,
mm,
don't know what this is.
mm-hmm.
That is that no one's experienced, that's just happening, whatever that is.
Yeah,
And then same with whatever else is going on. There's
the
just
mystery.
there's
Yeah.
no one here. So I can't say I'm like um I forgot what I was gonna say. Uh like sound isn't sound. That's a word. We have no idea what sound is, and something is, it's a complete mystery. Like there's no one here can know anything. There's no one here. And yeah, the sense of experiencing can happen with the me energy because there's a location and senses and
Yeah. Like the other thing, like what you talked about earlier was this sense of like evenness,
yeah,
right? Like,
total evenness.
and it's what it's so for me it seems like the sense of like outside and inside are sort of disappearing, like quite
Uh-huh.
a lot. So like there's no sense that earlier there was the sense that um a lot of like seeking used to happen, like you need to like go out and like engage with life, and like you need to meet more people, you need to go to new places, you need to go to this new park or like this new setting, um like a lot of that like has sort of like fallen away. I would say like now like there seems to be a lot more comfort with like just my natural self, like and that added burden is not there anymore, because it's like there's no sense that I'm sort of inside a room right now, right? Like earlier there was like it was so concrete that I'm inside the room and the real world is sort of like out there, and I need to sort of interact with that real world. Yeah, yeah, that seems to have stopped.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's really wacky to
it's real wacky.
see the evenness of everything, that everything is like the same.
Everything is the same. Exactly. Yeah,
Not as a concept, it's as a mystery. Like
yeah.
everything's just totally unknown.
So let me like ask you, so how has your like um connection with your parents like evolved? Like, so you said you talk to them like like the way you did and stuff, so like how has it like sort of like evolved now? Like, do you talk as often, or like that doesn't take place?
I talk to them a bit more because before, when I guess the me was busy seeking or something. Um, I mean, it was gradual in the story where I kind of like detached from my parents a little bit,
Okay.
not in a harsh way, but it just kind of happened, and I reassured them like I really love you, but I kind of need to do this. I kind of need space
Yeah.
because I just I wasn't going to explain much of this to them. So I wasn't really telling them much. Every time I talked to them, it was like, I didn't say much. I didn't have much to say. And
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I still loved them and like contacted them every now and then and made sure they were okay and everything was okay. But it does seem like my parents went through their own, I don't know if it's detachment from me, but I was a very good kid. You know, like parents come first, and
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
I'm like the good daughter, and yeah, just like, yeah, but that faded, and now it seems like sometimes I totally forget about them, to be honest, that they even exist, because if things, everything's so not there,
Yeah.
and the mind seems to not go too much in the past
Right.
naturally. So like there's a somewhat just not, yeah, not going to the past and stuff. So but like when I think of them, I'm like, oh yeah, I should call my mom, and I would
Yeah.
want to. But yeah, my mom and my parents' relationship is like, it's a lot lighter now. I
A
don't
lot
expect
light.
anything from them. They can expect stuff from me, but I don't. There's no one here taking it on. Um, it seems lighter.
It
Like
seems
maybe
light.
I joke more or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
You
for
know,
you?
like, yeah, like, so my dad had always been like a very like, what do you say, like, like type A, like type A is like a good word. I think like type A individuals who are like,
Oh,
who are
typing.
all about
Mhm.
like success and like, very disciplined and like,
Mhm.
um so, he usually had like a lot of like, expectations and like, what a proper way to live is, like, what's not a proper way to live is, basically. But like for him, like it's like so intense, because like I remember, like, this past like vacation, I was sort of like, I ordered port wine, and like, so port wine is usually what you order with dessert, but I never tasted like sweet wine before, so I wanted to experiment with it. So I sort of like, ordered it like with the main course, and like, he was like, there's a protocol to things. There's a protocol to things, that there's a way we do things around here. And like, he was like sort of like, shouting at me like in the restaurant. And I found that hilarious. I found that
Yeah,
I was like, bro, like, in this,
yeah.
like, this is the one thing, like, you found, that you care about. So like, but I would say, like, what he told me like later on, because like he had this always this sense of like, he gets angry very quickly and stuff, and like before, like, um I used to like, there used to be a sense of hierarchy, is what I'm saying, and that's why evenness like, rung true for me, because now it seems like, even though like, and also like the relationship of being a father and child, that's also like a story, right? Like that's also like, an apparent thing, but, uh even still, there's a sense of like being equals. So when he's acting like that, like, I'll say like, hey man, like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. And like, like, very very like naturally, and like,
Mhm.
not being afraid. So like, then he like later on, like, he said to me like, you've changed so much. You used to obey me. To obey me and stuff like that. So like, he was sort of like expressing that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My mom was kind of similar.
Okay. Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
sad that I wasn't her little puppet anymore.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any like siblings or anything like that? No.
You have a sister.
Elder sister?
Older.
Older. Okay. You
Yeah.
have like, two elder brothers, as well. So my middle brother, like, for him, like when he's like, in one sense, like we get along well because like he's very like, you know, laid back, and like he's not that ambitious, like, you know, like he's like, you know, working on his business stuff, but like he's very laid back and like, you know, very open in general. But I guess like, you know, there are some people who are not as attracted to the whole non-duality, the whole, you know, the scheme, because like he's listened to like Rupert, and before, like it didn't make sense to him. Like I was like, yeah, that's fine. But like it does seem like, you know, like um he, apparently, like, you know, certain characters are sort of like just like naturally more attracted to like uh non-duality, and like, you know, talking about this and stuff like that. Like what have you seen, like is there any real difference, or like or does it happen just like, you know, randomly, and like nobody knows?
Oh, who knows that? How can you know that? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Um, how can you know that?
it's very mysterious, right?
Everything is unknown. There's nothing you can know.
I think that's like, in one sense, that's like the perfect answer, because I think um a lot of the people who might be like, let's say, spiritual teachers, they usually like give you a story.
Uh-huh.
You see, like about how like some people might be, I don't know, like, you know, spiritual teachers might not say that, you know, you're the chosen one or anything like that. They won't sort of, might not build up your ego like that, but they'll still give you, you know, a story about something or the other, basically.
I would have done that too, not so long ago. I would have said, um, a person who genuinely is interested in liberation, or like a really radically honest character who wants to look at their uh whatever they're like running away from, like a willingness to see that.
Willingness to face your fears.
Something, yeah, something like that,
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
not like just perpetuating just a lie or a narrative or something,
So why wouldn't you say that now? Like,
because you can't say that. It's, how can you know anything? It was the person here who thought that she did certain things that led up to this happening,
mm,
but it
mm,
seemed so clearly that that was a whole illusion, that was a whole story, that was a
yeah,
whole happening with seeming progression that never happened because time doesn't exist.
mm,
So the whole time didn't exist. Nothing had any cause and effect. That was in the dream of the story. And this is unexplainable. Like
mm.
how uh n- nothing is everything, and there's no time, there's no now, there's no, so how you, it's impossible to say something led to something, that it just doesn't, it sounds so concrete, like,
And even this conversation isn't happening, you
yeah,
would say.
yeah, it's crazy that it's not
So this is,
happening.
it's not really happening.
It's happening. It apparently seems like it's happening, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
like,
happening because this is nothing. All of this is nothing appearing as
So I want to get, so we're not two individuals, like we're not talking as we're not two individuals talking over Zoom or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's only nothing. There's only nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
complete unknown.
So there's no Suzanne, like there's no real person called Suzanne. That's like what is that then? Like that's an idea.
Yeah, Suzanne was a name given to a person who never existed, but now it doesn't even resonate.
It doesn't resonate at
It's just a
all.
label on
It's
nothing.
like,
Yeah.
let's define you. Like I don't know what you are. Let's define you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why teachers change their name because they're literally, it feels as if they're reborn into nothing.
Yeah.
But um yeah, I can see why they change, I guess.
And like I'm speaking to you right now, like it does seem like this is um it seems like a sense of realness is happening, but I think that's sort of based upon how real I feel myself to be, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so like it's so to the extent I feel myself to be like concrete and a real entity, like that's how real this conversation seems like, to the same proportion. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds yeah.
Yeah. But this is not happening. And there's nobody. So I'm not speaking these words either.
Cause yeah, there's no you, and also words, it's not even that words, yeah, they have no meaning, but what are words? What is a language? What what is communicate? What is sound? What is all of it
Mm,
is like a, a an idea or a belief or a social uh
construct, yeah.
agreement of what something means or what an alphabet is, and all of it has no reality.
Mm, mm. And like even like so in one sense, um speaking is happening, like talking apparently is sort of like happening, and I don't know what I'm gonna say next. It's just like coming by itself. um and in the background, if there is a sense of I am, uh from that root, like it could seem like I am talking, I am walking, I'm sitting. So I think that I am sense like creates a sense of ownership, which is not really there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah. Yeah.
when you asked before if there was some like, did you say like regret or something like that, like you like
I said like a grieving process or
grieving.
something.
So
Yeah.
there was a sense of how amazing the human is, how amazing the construct of the me is.
Mm,
It's
mm,
fucking phenomenal. It's a complete
yeah.
mystery, but it's remarkable. Like, what is that? How is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah.
There was sort of a sense of like, it's really not all bad. It's actually
Uh-huh.
beautiful because the way you create these relationships based on this sense of me, and you
Yeah.
create your whole world, you create your past and your future, and you create this whole life, and how that's amazing that that can happen.
Yeah. Like at the same time, like, it seems like um and it's like so weird, like to even like contemplate like living as a me, because the me thinks that it's at the center of the universe, literally, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
everything around the me.
Oh
Everything
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
on
And
me.
it was ironic to me how people would call out selfish people. The me is the sense of self. So it has to be it is the center of itself. So how can you not be self-centered?
Yeah.
It's impossible. So every human is self-centered.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad trait. It is what it is. And
It,
you're right that it does feel like the world is revolving around a center.
yeah.
And when that happening never happens, it's remarkable. There's literally no location is like what? It doesn't even make sense. Like what is location?
Mm, mm. So like I think the interesting thing is like it seems to me that as long as there's this energetic feeling of location, um like suffering is sort of a natural byproduct of that, like some form of it, like it doesn't have to be like very extreme, but a certain sense of dissatisfaction, like, would you say that?
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
why
The it,
why what do you think?
yeah, yeah, it's a feeling of this is not it.
Mm.
Just this is not it.
Yes, yes, I think that's exactly, like, this is not it, whatever, like this is not it, basically. Yeah, there's no better way to put it. Yeah, this is not it. And there's the other thing, like I was sort of like contemplating like earlier, like when I used to listen to like Rupert and all these other messages, was like I thought that let's say it was possible for um like science to catch up to like non-duality, but like now I'm not so sure. Like, what do you think about like the whole, it's weird to say this, but like, do you think that like science can come up with certain discoveries of like, how you're not there, and like, how everything is happening by itself, and that kind of stuff?
As long as the scientist is there saying he can't say that there's no self because they know that there's at the core of everything it's nothing, but they're not going to say there's nothing here. They're not going to say that because they feel like they're here.
Yeah,
So
it's
mm,
going to be like an intellectual, like intellectualization, conceptualization, basically.
yeah. So I feel like if the sense of me is here, you can feel like yeah, at the core of whatever, there's nothing, you know? It's all like nothing. That wouldn't give them a sense of I'm not here. I wouldn't feel like they would make that connection. I just don't think.
And like you would also say that there's no actual thing that they can sort of like, so science like also like it's very like practical, so it depends on like concrete steps, like this is what you need to get there. So like so they will think like self-realization is like an is actually a thing, like it's an event that
Mhm.
can, it is that can be had. So then they might ask questions about like, what can we do to get there, like what can we do to like enlighten ourselves or something like that. But that in one way is like sort of like not, it's sort of reinforcing that me sense. Yeah.
That's a spiritual search. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
all spiritual search.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to end a little soon. We could chat again next time. It's kind of long.
Yeah, of course, of course. Like I think it's so you're an EST as well. I'm actually in the US right now, as well.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm in Indiana. That's where my college is.
Yeah, nice. So, I mean, do you mind if I post like parts of this? I don't know if I'm going to, but maybe I'll look back and see.
No, I don't mind at all.
Yeah,
That'd be of course.
cool. Okay.
But we can, like, catch up again. It was like really nice speaking with you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.